Hey everyone, welcome to Buzzing About Romance Happy Hour. I'm Becky, and joining me for this happy hour as co-host is Heather. Hey Heather.
Hello, everyone.
And we are super excited to be joined by one half of
One.
the Emma Fox dynamic duo, Aaron Nicholas. Welcome, or should we call you Emma for the? Are
I
you
know.
the
I'm like, am I
Fox?
the Emma Fox part of the Fox part? I don't even know. I haven't claimed that.
I'm like, you could be the Fox. Um,
I'll be the Fox.
but I did tell you yesterday. I googled the name.
Yeah, we didn't.
It's a
We searched
mature
the name.
star. It's a mature
Yeah,
star.
Oh,
we searched it on like Amazon and Goodreads to make sure there weren't authors, but we didn't just Google it. We maybe should have.
It's hilarious.
Oh well,
I think it works. I think it works.
it's it's in the same ballpark,
Right?
it
Because
makes it a lot more fun.
right?
to
It might pull in. There might be some crossover
right?
audience.
Tonight we are talking all about
Yay.
Puck One Night Stand, which is a new Why Choose hockey romance. And I love this. I love what you guys did with
So
this.
great.
Oh, thank you.
Um,
Yay.
I don't know. Can YouTube see us? I'm having issues.
Tech difficulties.
I have having tickled. It's fine. I'm fine. Anyway, it's Thursday night. Yay for Friday tomorrow, right?
Yay, for sure, for sure.
Yes.
Heather's like, yes.
Girl,
I had to ask my husband
tell me,
twice yesterday, is
I'm a
it
middle
Wednesday?
school teacher.
And he's like, it is Wednesday. And I told you that earlier. And I'm like, okay, today is Wednesday, so tomorrow is Thursday.
Tomorrow's Thursday.
Been a
Um,
week.
Today is Friday Eve.
Friday
Friday
Eve.
Eve. I like that.
Mhm.
I like
Yes.
that.
Okay, so tonight we're celebrating Emma Fox, which is a duet
Yeah.
pen name for authors Aaron McCarthy and Aaron Nicholas, and we are
Yes.
joined by Aaron Nicholas, and this is their debut release, Puck One Night Stand. Rules of the night: you can ask all the questions in the chat, and we'll do our best to answer them. In the description of the video are the links and all the places to connect with Emma Fox, which go follow them on Instagram, you guys. Um,
Yes, we need it. Followers over there.
Follow them on Instagram because there is a super cool graphic of like how the Why Choose works. And I'm
I
like,
love that graphic.
I'm a little obsessed with this. You guys can't really see it, but like it breaks down who everyone is. I'm obsessed.
It is it, yeah, that was pretty creative. Not it wasn't me creative. I'm surrounded by creative people, thank God.
Um, so this we're gonna kick things off in our traditional bees way. And Aaron, what are you drinking this evening?
I am only drinking water tonight because I had like 6 cups of coffee today trying to get through some edits and was feeling a little, so I'm like, okay, it's time to switch to water. So nothing exciting.
Nothing exciting. Heather, what are you
Nothing
drinking?
exciting.
I am drinking my Lift Bridge blackberry soda.
Mm.
Nice. She
Very
up
good.
in Minnesota, like craft soda is like as much a thing as like craft beers.
I didn't know
Mhm.
that.
Mhm.
Yeah. So now
Come to
you
Minnesota. We have all kinds of cool stuff
Very cool.
and lots of hockey. So
I
please,
know it's not very far from me. I can drive to Minnesota. So
are you in Chicago?
no, but I can
Oh.
drive to Chicago too. Chicago's halfway between Aaron and I. Like we can both get there really easily, like nonstop flights.
Mm.
So that's where we meet up to write. So
I love Chicago. I was
I,
so excited when you guys set this book in Chicago. It's
I'm
my
good.
favorite city.
We love Chicago too. Yeah. So very fun.
um I have a mango mule in a can because it was easy and it worked. But also I have a soda with my Chicago Racketeers can cozy that Aaron sent
Yay.
me
Yay.
that goes team swag, you guys. Like team swag.
Seriously.
I'm
Is it bad if Sammy's like maybe our favorite part of the series?
I so
Mm-mm.
cute. I mean,
Adorable.
Thank you.
love him.
So our story about Sammy is we were trying to come up with a name for the team and a mascot and all this stuff. And Aaron McCarthy was the one who's like, racketeers for Chicago. Oh my, and I was like, she's like, that's probably dumb. I was like, that's hilarious. That's amazing. But then we tossed it out to our husbands. And I was like, so what is like a mascot for a hockey team, but that's not been used, right? He's like, my husband's like, well, it has to be an animal that could be in the cold. He's like a husky dog or like a Malamute. And I was like, that's perfect. So we sent to the artist, we're like, we need a Malamute who looks like a mobster. And that's what we got back, like first try. So
It's the best.
Adorable.
I love him.
Love it.
I would totally wear him on a t-shirt. I love it was Avery Flynn with her Ice Knights. We interviewed her once and we're like, there's no team swag. And she's like, there's not. And I was like, no, because I would totally buy it. And I do. I have a sweatshirt that has her Ice Knights on it. And every once in a while, people will be like, where's that hockey team from? And I'm like, my imagination.
There's so many minor teams and stuff too, right? Like, so it could be a thing. So yeah, you could wear sweatshirts and t-shirts and people would be like, oh, I've never heard of them.
Yep.
So yeah, we're totally going down that path. Heather missed it. I was telling Becky that Aaron McCarthy and I are swag whores. So like, if you say, hey, we would really like this, we'll be like, okay, put it on our list. We might not write any, we might not get any writing done, but boy, we will order swag all day long.
I mean, I also had to say you guys chose a really cute illustrated cover.
Thank you.
And I love this. I love that she's the focal point, you know, that we get her. And then they just get recognized by their job, their wardrobe.
Yeah. We wanted it to be kind of a, if you know, you know, right? Like a cover that if you know why choose, you're going to understand what that is. And if you don't, you'll probably just, well, you might look at it because it's a cute, colorful cover, but otherwise you might just scroll past, but it's not going to get flagged by, you know, Amazon or Facebook or whatever, because it's not like three hot guys pressing in on a girl, right? We're just like, this is going to be nice and subtle. And people who understand what why chooses are going to be like, oh, I think I know what that is about. So,
yeah. And I love this. And you did again with the swag. We got the hockey sweater.
Of course.
And we got her dress. And the first text I got back from Heather because you and Aaron kindly sent us
So generous.
Of course.
a copy of the book and the swag. Heather says, if you talk to Aaron, can you let her know I need the other two? I need the suit and the jacket.
We debated about it, so I'm glad to hear that because of course we want all of the guys to be represented. So yes.
I think it would be so cute on the back of a Kindle. Like
good. Okay.
Just like,
absolutely.
Yeah, sort of if you know, like like 3 at a time.
I like 3 at a time. In my books and in my bed, wherever.
I mean,
3 is a good number.
3 is a good number.
I think people think about why choose and such like it's all about the steam to some people, but I think you guys did a really great job of explaining how the 3 were needed.
Thank you.
Does that make sense? Like they provided her with something that she needed that they each could give her.
Yeah, that was a big part of our plotting was they need to be distinct. We really want to make sure, like, because that's the why choose that we enjoy reading is when, you know who's going to step up for what thing, right? And we knew that like in any situation, this is the guy that's going to be there for this. And this is the guy who's going to be there for this. And what we loved is seeing the guys be there for each other too in that way. So that they were, kind of that same character throughout. So I'm glad you like that. That was one of our most fun parts.
Amber said 3 is not a crowd. I 100% agree, Amber. It is a perfect number. Right?
3 feels really good. Yeah.
So we have actually done happy hour with Aaron before, which is awesome. I love that you wanted to come back. You were like, yes, I liked spending time with you. Because I'm like, we're not everyone's cup of tea.
Well, and I get to hang out with you guys in November too. So
right. Aaron is signing at HEA. In Indianapolis in November. And so we are going to have lots of fun and some buzzing about romance stuff. I was actually just talking with Mike about our swag for our table tonight. I'm like, I need to get all this stuff ordered. And he's like, whoa, what all do you think you're ordering? And I'm like,
excuse me? Well, Mike,
stuff.
That might be the release date for something coming.
Right?
It's right around there. Yeah, we might have to have drinks that night and celebrate.
Yeah.
I'm a bit of a stalker to book releases.
I'm glad. Yeah. The next book in the series comes out the 3rd. So I'll be in Indianapolis with you guys.
So are we just getting Danny and the boys, or are we going to see some more Racketeers in this?
Well, I'm glad you asked.
So the tea.
As we were doing this, so when we first sat down, Erin and I didn't really we've been talking about writing something together for years. I mean, she's one of those people who our writing style is similar enough, and we're good enough friends. We see each other all the time, and we would sit around and plot. And I'm always like, we just need to write together. And she's like, I know. Like when we have a break, we're going to come up with something. You know, we never have a break. And then we were both reading these Why Choose books, and we were like, why aren't these funny? Like Why Choose has such potential to be funny. You know, we were reading Lily Gold, which we really enjoyed because that was funny. And we were like, let's just write that. That's what we should write. We could write this together. And so we sat down to write this, and we were just going to write one book, you know, for Danny and the guys. And then we were going to write another book. We were going to make it a Racketeer series. But as we started writing, we were like, oh, we really like these people a lot. And it's either going to end up a pucking around that's 800 pages, right? Or we're going to have to make this into like a little trilogy or something. So that's what we ended up doing. We're going to write 3 books about these 4, but then we have another series, a little trilogy in mind for Luna, who is Danny's best friend, Crew's sister. And I will tell you that one of her boys is a Racketeer. So yeah, we want to keep going for a while. So
I feel like you teased us with it, but I'm not going to ruin it for anyone, but I'm here for it.
Good.
So.
Good. Yeah, you've kind of met or seen 2 of her boys, not all 3 yet. So
that makes me so happy. Like the best
I'm glad.
news.
We're thrilled with how many people are asking about Luna already, because we're like, yes, we definitely want to give Luna a book or 3.
Sassy best friends are the best.
She's fun. She's a lot of fun. It's hard though, because you have to like really characterize her as because she has that main character energy already, but you have to keep that in mind, because it's like whatever we write about her in these books, we have to remember and be true to later. So we've had to kind of make sure we understand Luna pretty well already. So
nice.
I'm excited to hear that Luna, I like that it's 3 books for these 4.
Good.
Because that really gives us a chance to, you know, see them grow as a group and how things are going to work in their lives and choices they make. Yeah. And I like that. I think it continues to cement the HEA, but also shows that, you know, relationships evolve and change as you maneuver and figure things out. And there's a lot of potential for some shenanigans with the 4 of them.
Yes. Yes. Well, like, so the book that's coming, it's going to be in January. It's called Seriously Pucked, and it's them moving in together. So, like, so we kind of felt like you could also divide this up by like stages of their relationship, and each one would have its own conflicts and issues. And yeah, can you imagine these guys like figuring out how to live together? Like that's gonna be fun. I can't wait actually to write that. So
we'll move in all of his like framed hockey jerseys, and Nathan's gonna be like, "Whoa, hey, we don't live in a frat house," and Crew's like, "We kind of do."
but we basically do. Yeah. I mean, it's going to be so fun to write that. And so, so it's just like how now we're really serious. We're living together. So what does this mean? What does the future look like? And I know in reviews, we've had a lot of people saying, oh my gosh, all of these loose ends, but what about this? And what about this? And we're like, yeah, it's coming. I promise. Like, we know those questions are there on purpose. So it's just too much. The book is longer than we expected it to be, actually, because we just kept going, oh, but we need to have that there too. Oh, we need to have that. And there has to be like a cutoff point where you go, okay, this is definitely a happily for now. Like you could read this and be like, okay, I'm happy for them and they're together, but there's still some more to come. So we had to find a good place to kind of cut it where it's not really a cliffhanger by any means, but there's still more if you're interested. So
Mickey says they may as well move in because they're together all the time. Oh, we've got tons of comments here.
Good.
We've got Mickey's here. Jan Slate says hello, ladies. Amber and Susie both say hello.
So nice.
I don't know who Hockey is, but they're so excited about this book.
Good.
Rose says yay Chicago. Angela W says, oh, team swag.
Yes.
And then
More
Rose
to come too.
and Rose is excited for Indy. Rose, I'm so excited you are coming to Indy to hang out with us. Make sure you're
me too.
following Buzzing About Romance on Instagram and sign up for our newsletter. It's linked in our bio because we are going to have some Buzzing About Romance type fun events throughout that weekend. And yeah, it's going to be so much fun. We're going to play some tabletop games on Saturday night, and there'll be lots of fun stuff happening. And
Those are lots of familiar names. Hi, girls. Thanks for stopping by.
So, and Jean is here, and she says, so excited their story continues.
I'm so glad to hear that. We were like, I hope that people want to read more books about them as we have all these plans. So, yeah.
Well, and I like your kind of meet cute with the kiss cam type thing. Like, it was so unconventional, but so sports arena-ish, you know? Like, I loved it.
Oh, thank you. That's how we really got to know Danny, is like, okay, what is this girl gonna think about this? How's she gonna react to this whole thing? That's how we really got to know Danny. And we're like, oh, now we know who she is. This is good. So yeah.
As a hockey fan, I was really happy you got arena correct. You didn't call it a stadium because that's wrong.
Yeah, so I'll be honest. Aaron and I, we both have people in our lives. We love people who are hockey fans. We like hockey. We don't love hockey, but we like hockey and we watch it with them. But we were told, you better get this right. And if you have any questions, like, you have to ask, don't get anything wrong. So we did, we asked all the questions. It's actually Aaron's husband and my daughter. And then we got called out in a review.
Yes.
And we told them it was all their fault. So Crew actually has 2, I think, hat tricks, and we never call it a hat trick. And this reviewer was like, that is such a big deal, and you never even like use that word. And we're like, shit, like, we totally messed that up. So yeah, so we apologize for that, and we will get that right. We will fix that. We will get it right. And I'm sure that Crew will have to comment on that to someone, that no one in the apartment calls it a hat trick either.
They're really rare too.
Yeah.
Some really, obviously, like Crosby and McDavid, they probably get them more often, but they're really rare. So yes, Crew does need to be celebrated.
So we yelled at that. We're like, you didn't tell, and they're like, really? Like, did you tell us? Oh, he's scoring like 1 million times a game, you know? Like, so we tried to pass it off and it didn't work.
It is such a big deal that the Minnesota Wild named we get a dog every year. And they just picked up the dog this week and they named it Hattie for hat trick. So that's how big a deal it is.
See, we have to call it up.
Cute.
We have to either go back into the book and fix it, or we have to somehow call it out in like the novella.
Or you could do like a bonus chapter in the.
That's what we should do.
Like a bonus epilogue, a bonus chapter, or a deleted scene, kind of like a blooper.
Or he makes Danny write a Christmas letter and apologize for not recognizing his.
Oh my God, yes. Like their Christmas letter family update about the 4 of them. Yes. Could you imagine how funny that would be?
Crew scores a lot, and he's like crossing it out and putting hat trick, you know, because my thing is, I said to Aaron, I go, but do people, like, do hockey players call it hat trick to each other? Okay.
They call it Hatties.
Okay. Thank you. See, this is a research call now.
So Aaron, in the future, all hockey questions should just be directed to Heather.
Now I know my daughter and I don't know, work husband. Let us stay on.
Whatever. I have a hockey player, so if I don't know, I would ask my 16-year-old who is a hockey player.
We should just have you beta read all of the stuff, because, like, in my daughter's defense, she didn't know, you know, that we got in there. Otherwise, I'm sure she would.
I'm sure that'd be weird for her to read that book that you wrote. Like, this is coming from my mom's brain.
I know. I will tell you something funny about my daughter. My daughter's 26, and she is an avid reader, but does not read romance. It's just not her thing. She's tried it. It's just not her thing. Fantasy is more her thing. But she's a fantastic plotting partner, and she loves Aaron McCarthy. So I told her we were writing these books. told her it was hockey, told her what it was about. And she's like, okay, tell me the whole thing. So we were on a road trip. I told her the entire thing. We get done and she's like, I love Michael. Michael's my favorite. And that's just from the plotting. Like she hasn't read it or anything, but now she's keeping track of like what people say about everything online. So she hasn't read it, but she reads all the reviews and keeps track of who likes who. And she loves all the people who love Michael because she's decided he's the best one, even though she hasn't read it.
I actually agree with her.
Is Michael the best one? I mean, Crew has that golden retriever energy that like you just want to be like, oh, what a good boy. I love him.
Yeah. Wouldn't he drive you crazy though, don't you think? Like 24/7? He's a lot.
I live with that. Although not as much as Heather lives with that.
Yeah.
3 golden retrievers.
Oh, that's a lot of energy. My son is one, and I know what you mean. He doesn't live here anymore.
No, she's talking. Her three golden retrievers are her husband and her 2 boys.
Yeah.
Not actual puppies.
Not puppies.
No, I know what you mean. That's a lot.
Yeah.
Okay, we've got 3 Michael fans here. So
good. Michael's book. So the second book, the one that's coming in January, is a little bit more. So like people have noticed that book 1 focused a lot on Nathan, and so then book 2 will be a little more focused on Michael, and book 3 will be a little bit more Crew's book, just because each of them needs to have a little bigger arc, and there wasn't really room for 3 people to have big arcs, or you end up with 800-page books, which is fair. So Michael's book will be the January book, so we're very excited.
So
I love that you're breaking it into 3 because then we get cuter books, like cute covers again.
Exactly.
There's gonna be like Heather has become a next level Emma Foxx stalker. Like
I love that. We're so thrilled with that. That's amazing.
I do think one of the best things about Nathan though is that pleasure dom. Like that was spicy and so well done. Like
thank you.
I'm really into that right now, so keep writing that.
Erin and I, for the people who read us as Erin's, there's a lot of Erins in this little world. My assistant's name is Erin as well. Erin and I don't get to dive in as much to those really dumb, bossy in the bedroom guys, but we love them. And so this was way fun for us to write Nathan.
Yeah, it's a little hard to do that in the rom-com, blue-collar, contemporary romance. It's just a little difficult to pull off, but you kind of have some freedom in this Why Choose universe.
I'll let it go.
Let's see here. We have Phoenix says hi. I know you're keeping track of who's hanging out with us.
I know. I surprises to hang out.
Heather, Susie calls you the hockey guru.
I don't know.
Danny doesn't know about hockey, so it's perfect for Crew to educate Danny on being called a hattie or a hat trick.
Perfect.
Rose says Michael is my favorite. Amanda W says Michael's is the best, and Angela says how can you choose between them? Hi Christina.
Well, I made something for you, Erin.
Oh, yay!
I want to be Danny.
You can go to the games. You're ready to go.
For real. Nobody would think I'm weird at all.
Nobody would think you're weird.
Wait, you should totally take that to one of the games and take your picture by the ice, by the glass, and be like, I want to be Danny. But probably not high schoolers in the background. So like grown men.
Oh, right.
Right.
That'd be weird.
Good call.
It'd be really weird. Although, what am I saying? Good call. Weird is kind of what we got going on, right?
My brand.
What was it today? Oh, the boy child found a belt. This is really funny. The boy child found a belt in the bathroom. He was cleaning the bathroom for me today. And he's like, whose belt is this? And I'm like, dude, it's not mine. It's too small. And I said, it's not your dad's. Again, too small. I said, ask your sister if it's hers. And she's like, it's not mine. And I was like, dude, is it yours? And he puts it around and he's like, no, it's not mine. Doesn't fit him. He goes, why is this random belt around? I'm like, let me see that. And he hands it to me. I'm like, oh, this is the belt your dad and I use sometimes. And he's like, what?
What?
Are you drunk? The therapy
never-
bills.
I was gonna say he's good. This is coming up sometime at some point in his future.
It's fine. It's fine.
I
He
love it.
was dying. He's like,
And an event.
he's like, what is wrong with you? I mean, I like to say things like that to my children just to
It's
throw
good.
them
It
off.
keeps them on
Get
their
their goat.
toes.
Yeah.
It keeps them on their toes.
Well, if they have potty mouths, so they say bad words, then I will not censor the things I say to you. So
You just ask them, would you rather your parents didn't like each other
right.
and fought all the time?
Right.
That's the other end of the spectrum.
Susie
True.
says the Racketeer character can be the Dom.
Loved the little snippets of him. That was so great.
That's so Aaron and I, when we're together, we're just like, you know, it'd be really funny. And we're like, let's do it. We can always take it out later. And then we're reading it going, we're leaving that in.
Yeah.
We'll see if the editor hated it. She was like, this is, you don't need this. And we're like, we're going to leave it anyway. That's just how we are when we're together. It's sometimes we're not sure we're making the right calls, but you know, I'm glad you like it.
Who's the mascot in Philly? He has like his own personality. Gritty. So it's kind of that same kind of vibe, you know, like.
Exactly. And Aaron was the one who decided that he's Wade, this, you know, like surfer dude underneath it all. And I was like, see, that's funny. But see, when we're in Chicago together in person and we're really tired and we're doing this, like literally sitting across the table from each other, it's a really different vibe than when we're at home writing
Solo.
independently.
Yeah.
So you can maybe tell which things came out of the Chicago retreat. Wade was one of those things.
Jan says, I'm so glad you left it in. He was so funny.
Good.
I do have to say, I'm a little jealous of some of your writing retreats you go on.
Oh, I know.
You went on one. I think
Yeah.
you went on the one, and did you go on one with Lila DuBois?
Mm-hmm.
And
in Vegas?
Yeah, and she took a whole video of like the sink just full of glasses.
all the drinks we had. Yeah, Zoe York was there and Aaron was there.
So
Yeah, it was a good
jealous.
retreat. I know.
I want to go.
I love writing retreats. There's nothing like that kind of energy.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was really good.
Mickey says she cracked up when Wade said eating 3 gummies before work, not a good idea.
Right.
So funny.
People will ask, like one of my readers said, I really want to ask you guys how you wrote this book because I think I know which character you wrote. And I think people think that we divided up, right? Like I wrote this character and she wrote, and we didn't do that. We wrote them all together. Like I would write, like I would be like, okay, I have an idea for this scene. So I would just start and I would write as much as I could. And then there's always a point where you kind of fizzle out, you know, and you're like, oh, I'm not sure what comes next. And then she would just pick up and keep going. And so literally every single scene we wrote together. And we just knew these characters so well that we could just pick up. And like, I think maybe once or twice ever, I would say something to her like, so I think that Nathan would respond kind of this way. And she'd be like, I'm not sure. Otherwise, it was always like, yes, that's exactly what Nathan would do. Or that's exactly what Michael would say. You know, we were always just right on the same page. So we wrote it all together. And honestly, I don't remember which parts I wrote and which parts she wrote. Like when I go through it, I don't know who came up with what, except for the one sex scene I know I wrote because I've never wrote about sex before. And it was a canon event for Erin Nicholas. So I remember that. She's like, you go, you try it. You've never done this before. You go.
I mean, that's like a mark it in your diary. Like,
Yeah.
you need a present kind of moment.
I had to direct message Golden Angel and tell her that I'd done it. She's like, I'm so proud of you. Like, I'm so.
You might need a trophy, and it should be
She's
like a bottle of
yeah,
lube
she's
or
like,
something.
welcome to the dark side. I'm so proud of you.
I love that.
Cotton candy lube is what you should get.
That's what I should get. I don't even know if that's a thing.
I know there's glow in the dark. I am sure there's cotton candy.
There's gotta be.
I'm sure.
There's glow in the dark?
Yeah.
See, now
Misty Walker sends it in her book orders.
Okay. This is turning into a huge research call right now. You guys are
And
going to get
it's
to see
live
it
on the
show up
internet.
at some point. This is going to show up at some point. You're all going to be like, oh, I remember the call when Erin learned about that.
I have to laugh because you say golden angel, and I came across today, apparently figging is going around on TikTok again. And
again, I was going to say.
Golden is like, yeah, please stop tagging me.
Stop tagging me. She was at our Vegas retreat too.
She's a hoot.
That's how that Vegas retreat. She's great.
A hoot and a half.
She's great.
But yeah, figging.
Cotton candy.
Oh, we lost you for a second, Heather.
Oh no, it was very important because it was about cotton candy lube.
Yeah, she'll come back in a second.
Heather. It's a thing.
Cotton candy lube is a thing.
I might have to get some for swag bags, right?
So Crew is so going to whip out glow in the dark hats. So.
Exactly. That's very Crewish. That's very Crewish.
Oh my gosh, it's so funny. So how did you come up and decide on a billionaire, a doctor, and a hockey player? Because you would assume like it would have been easy just to write like all basic hockey players or trainers, like role on the team. But I mean, these guys have roles, but.
Well, so one of the things we wanted to do, and I'm glad, I think we pulled it off. So I'm glad, it was one of those things too we were going to try. So lots of Why Choose books, the guys already know each other and have relationships, right? And a lot of times they're friends, or roommates, or, they know each other really well, and they already have an established relationship, and then they bring the girl in, right? Or at least some of the guys do. And we wanted to try, we feel like they couldn't be total strangers because that just takes way too long to establish everybody. But we wanted them to not necessarily be friends. And we felt like if they were teammates, they would know each other pretty well and they'd probably be friends. And so we started talking about okay, so they have to kind of know each other, and there has to be a reason they would all run into each other, so they have to, it was just like this whole process of when we first started. In fact, we were like, it's going to be a Why Choose. Okay, who are the guys? Do they just work together? And she's a secretary in the building, an admin, a temp, whatever. So we didn't even know we were doing hockey at first. But so when we started kind of honing in on what we wanted to do, we were like, okay, if we do hockey, but the guys know who each other is, but they don't have a friendship. They're not already having poly relationships with other people, because a lot of Why Choose has that too, right? They've been in poly relationships together before. We wanted to start fresh with people. And so we were like, okay, so who are all the people in a hockey organization? And then it was when we wanted a certain type, we definitely wanted to write a Dom older billionaire. Well, let's make him the owner, so that's kind of how that all worked. So but we did have a review, and she DNF'd the book because we have no idea how players and owners interact. And I'm like, well, I mean, I feel like we know that they don't interact like this. We're pretty sure that this isn't how.
I mean, if your only hockey knowledge is from Hockey Romance, you would think they were all best friends.
Yeah, I mean, obviously her suspension of disbelief did not work, and that's fine. It's totally fine. I read the review and went, totally fair. That is not how a healthy organization would probably be running. Right.
It's fine. It's fine.
It's fiction, and people need to whatever. I mean, she missed out. That's all I'm going to say.
Thank you. It was definitely not for her. I'm glad she DNF'd it and moved on to something else.
Let it go.
That's more her thing.
Heather was reading it and she's like, I like this. And I was like, okay. She's like, no, I like this. I'm like, okay.
I'm so glad.
Sorry, my camera is being funky.
Rose said she's really glad they weren't all besties.
I'm glad too. Good. I'm glad that worked.
Yeah, I agree.
It's easier if they already are in some ways. I mean, I totally understand why people do that. It is easier, but we just kind of wanted to play and see how could we bring them together. And I don't know, some of my favorite parts were the guys figuring each other out and forming their relationship too. So
and how they realized they were relying on each other, not obviously romantically, but as a friendship.
Yeah, exactly. And we did have discussions about, are we going to do male or is it not going to be that? And we've had people ask. I've had people on TikTok ask if it's MM, and if it's not, they don't want it. And I get that too. I totally understand that. And we're not saying we're never going to do MM, but just we decided for this group, we weren't going to do that. So that was also one of those things. Because my daughter even said, she goes, that people are going to ship a couple of these guys and they're going to want that to happen. Are you going to develop that? I was like, I just feel like the way that we've met them and that we've gotten to know them, Crew's the only one who's probably going to be like, whatever, let's go. But I just don't think that that's their relationship. So this doesn't feel right.
Yeah. And I think that's interesting because I've read a lot. I love a throuple. I'm always in for a throuple. And Mary Carr is one of my, which you shared a picture of you and Aaron with Mary.
Mary's one of our besties. Yeah.
And she often does thruples, but rarely just do swords crossed for her thruples. Yeah. And I don't mind it because, but I do have to ask, was it confusing in some of the scenes, like to figure things out? Did you use dolls, like Barbies on your desk or?
No, but I will say that was one of the things about having 3 guys. That was one of our decisions, was we're going to have 3 because we felt like we could handle that choreography. We felt like more than 3 got to be a lot. So we were like, okay, we're both comfortable with 3 and where we would put everybody.
Yeah.
That sounds right. But you know what I mean? And then the joke that Nathan makes about, do we need a stick figure diagram or does everyone know where they need to be, kind of comes from TikTok. There are some people who do stick figure, diagrams for people who are like, I don't understand how this works. And I find that hilarious. And I think that's great. I think that's great. And so I was like, I'm just going to throw that in there because that's pretty funny to me. But I think that their personalities help, because I think for us, we know who's going to be like saying certain things, who's going to be doing things in a certain way. And so we tried to carry that through those scenes too, that they are pretty consistent even in those scenes.
Yeah. Leah is very famously quoted on an episode of the podcast saying, I only have 3 holes.
I mean, I will say that's exactly the conversation we had. Is like this 4th guy, it starts to get to be a lot. As a reader, I've read many and I don't mind those, but it does start to feel like, I personally, as a woman, sometimes go, that's just a lot of guys.
It's a lot of penis.
I feel like I would be really tired and really like, I need some alone time now. Thank you.
Sticky.
Right? Yeah. You're not done yet. There's one more of you.
Can we move forward?
That's also a really interesting thing that you guys did that often in Wide Shoes doesn't come up, and it's the whole birth control conversation. That was real. The first time it happened, I was like, oh. And then it came up again, and I was like, yeah, it was good.
And I know people feel like we left that hanging. No pun intended, but that didn't get addressed, and it totally will as we go along. I told Aaron, I said, I think we screwed up because we didn't make sure that all the books were listed. Like, we're doing more. I promise this isn't the last book. So there is more to come with that. Again, no pun intended. There's more to the story. And we will get to those details.
The puns just kind of write themselves.
It's so hard sometimes, yeah.
So Fletchin 1 says 4 is still plenty of people and parts to choreograph. And then Mickey says, Michael surprised me at how funny he was. I didn't expect that from him.
Good.
So
Michael is just that, that steady, always says the right thing, always does the right thing guy. He was so easy to write, but people ask like, who's our favorites? And Aaron and I flat out, no, we're not just saying this. It is literally whoever we're writing at the moment. So like today I wrote a Nathan scene. Nathan's my favorite right now, but only because that's who I just spent time with. It's so easy to switch back and forth and just be like, oh, I love this guy, So they're all so easy to write, but yeah.
I kind of like too that Danny didn't have an overly feminine name. I liked that she kind of had this, almost masculine name with being called Danny and stuff like that. I kind of liked that, just because it adds just a little bit, another layer to her personality and to this setup, because, you go talking and you're like, yeah, I'm with Danny and Nathan and crew, and then people are like,
right.
Huh?
Yeah, exactly. And we wanted them, it came very naturally, but we wanted them to each have a different name for her so that when they were talking, you kind of knew who it was. And that just came really naturally too. I was like, Nathan is not a kind of a Danny guy, really.
Right.
So yeah, that was pretty fun too.
Rose says she loved Cookie too.
Oh, good.
Mhm.
Good.
So
That was an Erin McCarthy thing. She wrote that cookie scene, and I was like, we got it.
is there one scene you cut out that you wish you had left in that we might get like as bonus content
Oh,
somewhere?
I don't.
Or is there one scene you kept thinking, "Oh,
Well,
I really wish we'd put that in there."
there's a scene that we started to write and then we didn't do, and I don't think that we wish we'd put it in though. So at the end, when they're going through the whole like, oh my God, everybody knows about us and everything's crumbling down, and what are we going to do? Kind of the dark moment. We really didn't want there to be a third act breakup. That was really important to us, and we knew from the beginning we were trying to plot a book that wouldn't have that. But we were like, does it need a little more time between, like, the blow up and them deciding what to do about it? And so there was a little bit of a scene we started writing where Danny moves in with Crew and they do the whole, we're the couple, so leave these two alone, we're the couple. And where Nathan and Michael, it takes like 3 days, for them to be like, no, this is not okay, this is not how it's going to go. So we kind of started that scene, but then we were like, let's just kind of see what people think. And our beta readers and our editor loved it the way it was. So we were like, okay, good. We don't have to break anybody up, because we don't want to do that. We didn't really want to write that scene. It was kind of a tough, like, I don't really like this. I don't really want this. So, but that was really the only one. I can't think of any deleted scenes that we really have. No.
I like that the two guys really trusted Crew. Like, well, we're gonna go on a limb and say they trusted.
Yeah.
I mean, they were hesitant, but
They're like,
really letting
yeah,
him do.
yeah.
Yeah.
I thought that was important for Nathan's growth to let someone else kind of be in charge and in such a big way. So,
But he kind of
Mhm.
needed that. He needed someone else to not, so he didn't have to be the boss.
Yep.
Yes. We're writing this Christmas. So I'll tell the Christmas novella. We don't know how to refer to these books because there's really 3 books, but then there's also this novella. The novella is flat out Christmas. That's all it is. If you've ever seen the movie 4 Christmases with Reese Witherspoon, it's that. They're going to meet all the families because there's 4 families, right? And you're introducing your parents to 3 people that you're living with. And they all have very different families, you can imagine. And so it was really fun for us to go into, like, what are their families like? And what is this interaction like? And how is each family going to react to this? So we've had such a good time with it. But we were writing that. And there's a moment like that for Nathan again, where he gets to just kind of just be a guy, and the other ones just kind of they kind of take over and he doesn't have to really worry about it. And that's really nice. I think Nathan needs a lot more of that.
Can you imagine Crew at a really prim and proper billionaire Christmas? Like,
yeah,
you want to be like,
yeah,
please do not eat anything that is red. I imagine the house has a lot of white. So you can only eat neutral colored items or drink neutral colored items.
I'll just give you a little spoiler, like not huge, just like a little sneak peek. So Crew is used to charming everyone, right? Everyone on this Crew, he's used to always being the charmer. Danny's mom isn't really that impressed, and it devastates him. She really likes Michael a lot. And so Crew is like trying so hard to impress her. And she's kind of like, whatever. And it's kind of funny because he's kind of like, he has no idea what to do. And Nathan's just like, you're all right. You're all right. You're okay. You don't always have to get her attention. And he's like, yes, I do, though. Yes, I do, though.
Oh my God, that's so funny.
Gosh.
So
that's amazing.
Fedora says, I'm so glad I didn't need a third act breakup or a dark moment in this book. And I know there are lots of people, I didn't mind this one. I'm going to say this, like, I liked how you worked this one out, but I am in camp third act breakup. Like, I need that gut wrenching drop moment. And
I know some people are. Melanie Harlow I'm telling you, that woman will tell you, you cannot write a book without a third act breakup. And
I also think miscommunication is synonymous to romance. If there's no miscommunication, how do you have a romance? Because miscommunication is kind of, it's part of real life and real
It is part of real
relationships.
life.
Um, so yeah, everyone
Absolutely.
who's like, I hate miscommunication trope. And I'm like, it's not really a trope. It's an element of romance. It's needed. Shut up. And then everybody yells at
Well,
me.
and I think that people talk about it. I think it's one of those terms that gets sort of misdefined
Right.
because there's good ones and there's bad ones, right? But like you were saying, miscommunication is normal. That's, you know, when
Right.
people refuse to talk about things, when people say the wrong thing because they are upset. I mean, those are all like different nuances of that. We were just like, we're pretty firmly rom-commy, not big dark moments. And so
Mm-hmm.
we knew going in that we didn't really want to do that. But of course, you always have that conversation about, are we pulling this off though? And I'm also, I mean, Erin is too, if you've read a lot of her. We really love the big grand gesture. And I know there are lots of readers who don't. Like, do not stand in the middle of the ice in an arena and announce this to the world. Like, what are you doing? I totally get that. In real life, that would mortify me.
Yeah.
But I'm big on that in romance. I came up on Susan Elizabeth Phillips and people
Yeah.
who big grand gestures. So yeah, so that's just kind of our thing.
Yeah. No, I get it. I like a grand gesture. I'm kind of a fool for them. And again, I
Yeah,
grew up on the bodice rippers, so it's, the charging horse, the saving the damsel. I
right.
need that, but we did a whole episode on third act breakups and books. We wrecked books
Mhm.
that didn't have third act breakups, and it was like Heather's little happy place. She was
Yeah,
like, "Yes, I needed all of these."
there's pretty distinct camps. People
Yeah.
feel pretty strongly on both sides, and I get it. I get it on both sides.
And
I
I
hate writing them, I will say. So
and I don't
I
think
like
every
this
book
movement of not having them.
I don't think every book needs them, like, especially if there's like a kidnapping and an outside source. I mean, you give me a
Yeah,
kidnapping and
absolutely.
I'm perfectly fine.
Golden.
Of
A
course.
stalker or a murderer out on the loose, like,
Right.
I don't need a third act
Right.
breakup for that.
Right.
But I
Yeah.
need some
Like
outside big drama.
absolutely, like a Catherine Cowles book, like don't also have them break up emotionally. Like I can't handle
Right.
both of those things, right? So yeah, no, I totally get it. I'm okay. I'm okay with those kinds of things, those external, like, can they make it through this kind of thing? Yeah, and I totally know we need to have a moment of, I think it's always that moment of the couple or the four people deciding, is this worth this?
Right.
Right? Like whatever is happening, are we willing to work through this or not? It's a fork in the road, is what it is,
Yeah.
and they have to make a choice.
Well, and for some in a situation like this, they're looking at, the preconceived notions of these kinds of relationships and the
Yeah,
acceptability societal wise.
yeah.
So, it works. It works what you did here.
Good.
But yeah, I was okay with it. I wasn't mad that there wasn't one. Don't worry, Erin. I wasn't mad. Um,
I've got Heather. I can lean on Heather.
right.
Right. I'm
Heather
here
apparently is
anytime.
team Erin. Like, she's like,
Heather
whatever.
is there for me.
But I mean, there was some drama. We got the
Yeah,
drama. And I
Yeah.
yeah,
sort of love that crew kind of got to, I don't want to say save the
yeah.
day, but the way he put it,
Well,
like, you know,
yeah. He's like, I got this handled. But I mean, really, if you think, I mean, I do think that Michael to a lesser extent, but Nathan and Danny both really had to decide, am I going to do this? Like, this is public. This is, everybody's judging everything I do from here on out. And that's kind of a big moment. I mean, I don't know what I would do. So
Right.
when everything goes public like that. So yeah, we were like, I guess this is enough. But again, we did discuss having a bigger dark moment. We started writing it. And then I was like, let's make sure we need this first, because I don't like this. I don't like them being apart.
I have to say, because it's kind of that same feeling. Like, I often think to myself, I'm glad social media was not a thing. The internet was not a thing when I was dating and in college.
Right?
There are
High school.
pictures
Yeah.
of me doing some not classy things, but God, could you imagine if it lived on the internet forever?
Yeah.
Like,
Can you imagine, honestly, the way Instagram is, and just, I mean, Mean Girls have always been a thing.
right.
I've had
Oh,
that discussion with my daughter. There's always been Mean Girls,
right.
but social media and Mean Girls that's Mean Girls
Yeah.
on crack, right? So, I mean, no.
I always just
No.
think of the TikTokers that are the tea talkers that like relive all the drama that is like just spilled on TikTok. And I'm like, are people really out there putting their whole life out on
And
the internet?
It's exhausting. There is one girl I follow though on my real profile because it's not a book thing, but she does all the celebrity stuff. She pretends to be the HR manager of each of the
Oh,
celebrities,
yes,
and
yes,
she answers the phone
yes.
like, so and so PR, how can I help you? And then it's always the celebrity calling in. And she's like, yeah, I saw the video. She's like,
Yeah, she was really ripping on Joe Jonas lately. Like, and I'm like, wonder what team she is there.
I know, it's always funny. It's like I could almost watch her and not have to watch any headlines because I catch up with the story. But anyway, yeah, I mean, it's like you just can't. Social media is crazy.
Yeah.
So I mean, even more than I think we even realize.
Oh,
so,
yeah. Well, but I
yeah.
do like how, like, they kind of were outed and then that made them make the decision. And I like those declarations of love.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and the whole thing with Nathan, like, I guess maybe we're spoiling it if people haven't read it, but Nathan having to, like, he's going to take the fall, right? He's willing to be the bad guy and be like, yeah, okay, they can blame me. It doesn't touch me as much, right? And we all know that. You're the owner. Who's going to fire you? Nobody, right? So he's willing to do that. And the rest of them are like, we're not going to let you do that, right? We're a team. We're in this together. And he's never had that before. And, all of this. So that was all.
Susie says she always wonders about morals clauses when a threesome goes public or a group goes public in a book.
I mean, I'm sure there's stuff. I'm sure this is not okay in the real world. I mean, we're not pretending to write HR policy for hockey team.
I mean, we could.
I mean, yes, I'm sure there's problems, but just like any of the boss employee romances, right? Or any, lots of romances.
I'm telling you, like, if I ever got called into a billionaire CEO's like corporate office, I'm not touching his desk or sitting in any chairs, and I'm not touching his door handle because stuff happens against that door. I'm sure.
All the time. What? I know, right?
You think a motel
a private bathroom
is sketchy? Ew. You think a motel sketchy? Try to blacklight a corporate office, people. That's all I'm saying.
That's all I'm saying. And I love those books. I mean, honestly, like one of my favorites is Lauren Blakely's series where it's like the girls are dating like dad's best friend.
Oh, the series that's going on right now?
Yes. And I'm thinking to myself, I don't for a second think about my daughter dating my husband's best friend because I'm like, no, of course not. Of course not. But can I read it all night long? Absolutely.
Yes.
So
my husband's best friend is gay. So yeah, no, we're good. We're good.
Well, he might date your son then.
Right.
So.
I mean, he's married, but it's fine. Yeah.
Oh.
No.
So anyway, yes, to the morals clauses, absolutely yes. We are on the bandwagon of the readers who are like, we don't care.
Yeah.
That's who we're trying to appeal to.
I can sanitizer, Susie. Yes. Lots of sanitizer. The spice in this book was so well done. So I have to ask, like, do you have a favorite part of the spicy stuff? So do you like the flirting? Do you like writing that first kiss? Is it that first like exploration of foreplay, or is it the business? What is your favorite, or is it the aftercare?
My favorite part is the dirty talk buildup. Like almost even before there's a lot of touching. It's like it's kind of like Nathan and Danny in the car on the way to the restaurant. It's just all of that dirty talk where it's like, oh, this is where this is gonna go, and oh, he's in charge. That's the part I like. Yeah. But I like all of it. I will say that after like 80 books or whatever I've written, there comes a point where it's like sex scenes can get to be like, oh, okay. How do we make this new and fresh and fun, right? And I will say that writing Emma Foxx was it was like vacation. It was like, this is fun. This I've never done. Like I could, and these are people who are going to have sex in a museum and who are going to, do all this stuff. And it was so fun to like be able to kind of go over the top a little bit with that. So I will say all of this was really fun for me.
That's good. That's awesome. I love that. Okay. We already talked about how we came up with our inspiration for the Racketeers. Heather, do you have any other if you guys have any questions in the chat, feel free to drop them in there and ask. Heather,
come on, guys.
Heather, do you have any questions? Oh, we lost her for a second.
And then she freezes. Oh no.
And then she freezes. She's coming back. Um,
Erin, what is your spiciest book you've written?
Oh my gosh, that's such a good question. Probably my so my Boys of the Big Easy series is really spicy, and the third one is called Nice and Easy. And
Mhm.
they experiment with like some BDSM, light BDSM, but the heroine is really into it because of what she reads. And the hero is like, I don't think I can do that to you. And she's like, yeah, I think you can. So he starts reading the romances that she reads to learn about it. And so that one gets pretty spicy. Um, I had a couple readers tap out actually. They were like, I'm gonna skip this one and then go to the next one because there's like some spanking and stuff in it they weren't prepared for. um, and then I have a book called The Best Bad Boy. It's the first of my bad boys of the bayou, and it gets a little spicy,
so The
but
Boys of the Big Easy was my first Aaron Nicholas series
oh,
that I
it
ever
was
read.
okay.
And I loved it. I loved it.
Thank you.
That
I
those
love Randy Moss.
books. I love the city of New Orleans, and actually, Lindsay, one
Mm.
of our podcast contributors and community members, she's always like, "Let's just go do a book tour of the Big Easy," and I'm like, "Yeah,
Yes,
let's go," because there's you, and then Jiffy Kate writes in New Orleans, and
Maria
Kristen,
Louise.
yeah, and Kristen Callahan has some books in New
Mhm.
Orleans.
Yes.
Yeah.
So in March, the Bella Nola is the book signing. There's a book signing in New Orleans. I'm going to be there. And then it's on a Saturday. And Friday, I'm having a dinner with readers. Saturday, after the book signing, we're doing a ghost tour. And then Sunday, we're going on a swamp boat tour. So I'm doing this whole reader thing. So come and do this with us. And I will show you the French Quarter and all these fun places. And Maria might join us. Erin McCarthy might join us. Zoe York will be there. So
That
yes,
sounds like a really great time.
come girls weekend in New Orleans. But yes, Boys of the Big Easy was I love that series so much. So, and I would think it's pretty spicy, and Going Down Easy is the first book. It's they're all in Kindle Unlimited, but
Mhm.
yeah, those get pretty spicy.
Going Down Easy is Whisper Saint for all of our
Yes,
um,
yes,
Audio people.
audiobook lovers too.
Ryan West is the audio narrator on all of those books, and he's amazing. He has like just the right amount of like Louisiana accent. Oh my God. Montlake actually did that first book, and they hired him and they sent me that audio, and I just melted, and then ended up hiring him for the rest of the series that I did on my own. So yeah. So I really love that series. Yeah.
Susie asks, what trope would you likely not write?
Oh, what trope would I likely not write?
Because you've
I
written a
really
lot
don't.
of tropes.
Yeah, I don't really have a trope that I don't like. Like I can't imagine that I would ever, I should never say never. Like I'm not really into like motorcycle gangs and things like that. I don't really consider that a trope though. That's more
No,
of like a
it's a subgenre.
subgenre.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to think trope I would not write.
Probably not a bully. That's what Fiona says. Probably not a bully romance.
Probably not. Although I mean that could be kind of fun, but probably not.
She
Probably
says
not
that, and then I'll get a random phone call. Hey, Becky,
that.
I got an idea.
But Fedora knows me pretty well. I would say she's probably, yeah, ask my readers. They probably know even better. But bully, probably not. But you can never say never.
I do have to say, you like to write New Orleans. We could use some mafia in New Orleans.
How
Yeah.
has nobody ever written a New Orleans mafia before?
Well, Rena Morgan has a New Orleans
Okay.
mafia,
Okay.
and I'm a Rena Morgan stan. Like if she writes it, I read it.
Okay.
Like
I'm gonna try her.
if you have
actually, Megan March did have some.
Okay, well,
some of hers is kind of
she's
mafia.
crazy, so we're gonna move past that one.
Those were kind of mafia-ish, I guess.
Yeah, they're dark. That one, I have a funny Megan March book story. I was listening to the audio because Sebastian York does a lot of her audios.
Yeah.
And I had been listening to the first book in that series that's in the whiskey distillery of Megan March.
Yeah.
And I was listening to it in the car, on the Bluetooth in the car, and I took it inside, and it connected to my Echo in my kitchen. And it was the scene where he's putting the butt plug in for her.
Of course it is.
And both my children are in the kitchen. And I'm like, oh. I'm like,
of course
Echo, stop. Echo, stop.
Hammer on your Alexa. Of course it is. Yeah.
I'm
That was
More
one of my
therapy
very
for your kids.
yeah. That's fine. You know, I've scarred them. They need something to talk about in therapy. I
I was
mean,
gonna say, and then your son's asking whose belt that was. He really should have just known
right?
whose belt.
I mean, look around you, dude. Look around
Hello.
you. I have like a half-dressed Barbie. Like, what do you want from me, dude?
Oh, that's so funny.
So okay, let's see here. Anybody else have any other questions for Miss Erin? I didn't look because I just pre-ordered it. Is Puck One Night Stand, is it in Kindle Unlimited?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it is.
So it's available in Kindle.
Amazon. Yep, and paperback is up, and it is coming in audio. We are trying to figure out the date for the narrators because we're doing 4 narrators. So,
Okay.
but we're trying to like coordinate when they can do that. So we're not sure exactly, but hopefully we'll know pretty soon when that'll happen.
Have you
I'm
announced
excited.
the audio
So what we're hoping,
casting yet on that?
yeah, well, that's the thing is we're getting 4, right? 3 guys, a girl, and we want to keep them for all the books. So we're
Okay.
trying to, like when our books will be done, when they're available, when they can actually do all the books. So it's a bigger casting
Okay.
project
Okay.
than either of us have done before, but it's gonna be great.
I'm so excited for that. Can I fan cast?
Yeah, I mean, give us some ideas. I think that our producer, I can't tell you because it's not fair to in case it doesn't work out, but she's already kind of got some people in mind.
Okay.
But tell me who you think. Yeah, tell me who you think would be good for these.
Jason Clark. Oh, Heather, do you have someone?
Yeah.
I think he'd be the
No,
billionaire.
go.
Jason
So
Clark.
Jason would be a good Nathan.
He'd be a good Nathan. I think Teddy Hamilton is Crew.
Okay.
Heather's like, yes. Because Teddy Hamilton does golden.
Love him
He
so
has like
much.
real golden retriever energy, like in real life.
He does. I think
does.
Connor Price could be a good Crew as well.
Well,
Oh,
see, I
yeah.
could see Connor as Michael.
See, we would love to cast a black
Okay.
narrator though for Michael.
Oh.
So,
I was gonna say I like Oscar Reyes, but I think I know he's BIPOC, but I think he's Latinx.
okay.
But I really do like him.
Yeah. And then who do you think would be a good Danny? I have a couple of girls that I really love, but I don't know if they're available.
Savannah Peachwood. Oh, Callie Dutton. Didn't Heather Callie Dutton, she did that Omega, codename Omega for, wasn't that Callie Dutton?
Yeah. I like Samantha Brentmore too.
Oh, I like her too. Yeah. I like Angelina Rocca.
Oh, yeah.
She's super good.
She's been getting a lot of love lately. And actually, Karen Gray just did one with Amy McFadden.
Okay.
In her Carolina, and I think Amy would be really good. Also, I have to look here. It's interesting with audiobooks because some audiobooks narrators, their voices are aging as they're aging, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, that makes sense.
So, like, I was listening to an older book that had, it was Erin Mallon, and she doesn't sound the same, but it was from like 8 or 9 years ago.
Right.
So she doesn't, her voice sounds a little different. I almost didn't recognize her.
I mean, that makes sense, but I guess, yeah, that is interesting. You don't think about that.
Yeah, I think it was Callie Dutton that did Codename Omega with Sawyer Bennett that I really liked her.
Her. Okay.
Kind of that young spunkiness that
I know.
like a little bit more,
but like has to be a little sweet, right? Like she's not mature, she's not like mature and sophisticated and classy like that. So yeah. I'll have to see who she has in mind. But yeah, so we're hoping to do the whole cast and then all the books with the same people so that the voices stay the same. So yeah.
That's excellent. That's
awesome.
I love audio. So it's like swag. Like Erin's like, I mean, I don't want to spend like $1 million on audio. And I was like, but what if we could get, so and so and so and so? And she's like, this is the one place she holds me back just a little bit, which is a good thing.
Yeah, it's a good thing. Although, I mean,
I love audio.
Heather's a fool for audio. And of course, with our podcast community, we're a podcast. So we have a huge audio following.
I'm a huge audio person myself. So yeah.
Yeah. So we get that a
It's
lot.
growing. It's growing. I want more and more people to discover it because I really feel like people who don't listen to audio as much just haven't really listened to good audio, because I feel like the time you find the really good audiobook, you are like, where has this been all my life?
Well, and one of the things we often
Yes.
tell people is start with your favorite book first.
Mm-hmm.
So what people who will say, I don't listen to audio, I've never really tried it. And we're like, okay, because Leah's a great example of that. Leah used, because she could read faster than she would listen to audio.
Okay.
And I said, I think you're kind of missing out though on some things.
Yep.
I said, so take your most favorite book
Right.
and listen to the audio of that. You already know the story. So if you're,
Right.
doing dishes or laundry and, you have the audio playing in your ear, you might miss little things at first. But the more
Right.
comfortable you get
Yep.
into audio that way and find your groove, and I like to move my speed up
I do too.
depending on the narrator.
Yeah.
I will move my speed up.
Yeah.
And but I love the audios. Like it's
Yeah.
great. Like today I did bookkeeping stuff and I was able to listen while I did my bookkeeping.
For sure. Well, and I think that if it's your favorite book, I do think that it gives you, it's like watching the movie of your favorite book, right? It's just like a new way of experiencing it. And so that's nice. I usually don't. I read and listen to different books,
Yeah.
but I understand why that would be a good way to start.
It's just
That
an
makes
easy
sense.
way to start because you already know the
Mhm.
story, because a lot of people are like, oh, I get distracted, my brain moves.
Exactly.
I also like to play mobile games. If I'm just sitting on the couch listening to audio,
Yeah.
I will kind of lose track. But if I'm playing
Sure.
like, I love Animal Crossing. This is so stupid and
Yeah.
nerdy.
My mom loves that.
I love Animal Crossing on the Switch. So I'll put an
Uh-huh.
audiobook in and play Animal Crossing and take care of my island and
Exactly.
pay Tom all of his
I know a lot of people
bills.
who craft while they do it. They
Yeah.
knit or they craft or do whatever. And so, yeah, for sure. I do it when I work out, and that's the only way I make myself go longer than like 10 minutes is, well, I'll listen to another chapter and I'll keep going. So yeah, it's probably the only reason I have any cardiovascular capacity at all is thanks to audiobooks.
I don't really exercise. So
And it's really funny. I will for some reason, I will imprint the book, whatever I'm doing. So I could tell you the books that I was listening to when I was packing like book boxes, because I did it for like 3 days, and
Yeah.
was listening to books while I did it. And I still, like, when I go into that room and look at all the tissue paper and stuff, like I remember the books. It's so weird, but it's like some kind of weird memory thing.
Yeah.
no, I'll be playing something on Animal Crossing in a new season. I'll be like, oh, last year during this season, I was listening to this book. And then you
Isn't
kind
that
of have that
weird?
flash, like,
It's so
I should go back and
weird. It's
listen
like
to
a
that.
weird part of your brain that uses that audio or something. Yeah.
As a reading teacher, I have a lot of things to say.
Oh, that's so interesting.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we want. That's why we have kids listen to books and read them. It helps with their fluency, their vocabulary, their comprehension, all the things.
That makes so much sense. Yeah.
It's a good equalizer for kids and even adults who struggle with reading.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
That. I love that. That makes sense. And like when we read to our kids, we always read out loud, but they would look at the book with us.
Mhm.
And same thing, right? Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. Everyone's talking about audiobooks in the comments.
Oh, good. Are they all like gonna go buy all the audiobooks?
Go buy all
I
the
have a lot of
audiobooks.
friends who don't do audiobooks.
Brandy says, I used audio for background noise, and I don't tend to pay attention enough. That's why it's good to go back and revisit, books you already know. And I agree. Somebody said that a narrator, they didn't sound like they had imagined the hero.
Yes.
And there are
That can be-
times, I've had a couple of books where like I didn't love the audio mashup between the male and the female narrators and end up going
Yes.
back to the ebook.
I have done that a couple times. There's a couple Lauren Asher books that I loved, like one book in the audio. So then I just got the series, and now I'm like, oh crap, I don't like this.
Yeah.
narrator.
I struggle with some matchups, and then also if the pacing is very slow in the narration, like, and that's fine, and I can't speed it up fast enough, and it's not holding my interest, I'll dip over to the
Yeah.
ebook. But again, that's the nice thing about whisper syncing and
You can do
cross
it.
stuff, and can do all that
Exactly.
stuff. Does anyone else have any other questions? I think I got all of the people that were here. We had
Okay.
Elizabeth and Fletchen, so I think that's
That's Fedora.
Fedora. And we have Susie here, but I know
I know
she's
all your
part of our
usernames.
community. Brandy, let's see here. Rose, uh,
Keeping track of y'all.
Elizabeth, Amber's
Elizabeth,
part of our community. Mickey.
Brandy. Rose.
Yeah, I think we got, but we have a good crowd hanging out and watching too. So
Nikki and Jan were here earlier. I saw
yeah,
Angela was here. Jean was here. That's awesome. Thanks you guys for stopping by.
that's so
I
awesome.
love that.
Okay, so what is next? So we get the next Emma Fox is the Christmas novella.
Yep, November 3rd. It's called Four Pucking Christmases. It's already up for pre-order. If y'all are so inclined for that, but it will be in KU. It'll go straight to KU. And then January 5th, I don't know whatever the first Friday of January is Seriously Pucked, and that's going up for pre-order really soon. We're working on the cover now.
Seriously Pucked.
So that is the next one. That'll be a full-length book. And then we're doing a third, hopefully. I mean, I guess if everybody's like, okay, now we know the story, we don't need any more, we would possibly go on to Luna's books then, but we think there's enough story for 2 more books. Okay. So yeah, that's our plan. But Luna's getting a book that will be in the spring. We'll start her group. We're very excited about her voice too. And so, yeah, we're just going to keep doing Emma Fox as long as it's fun and people want the books.
It has to be a little bit of a brain switch for you. Like you get taken out of Aaron Nicholas realm and you get to go over and kind of play and have some fun over here. And then
completely. And it's a little less, it's just so much fun to have somebody doing it with me. Like it's half the work. I mean, literally half the writing work, but it's also somebody to bounce ideas off of and, do all that with and, create mascots and stickers and stuff with. It's just a fun thing to play around with a friend with. So yeah.
Well, it can be kind of solitary working as a writer. Yeah. Like I know working from home, I look forward to when my husband comes home for lunch so that I'm not like out here just on my own talking to the dogs. Whatever. I mean, I have full conversations with the dog every day.
My cat knows more about me than anybody does. Yeah. It's kind of bizarre because I was a fan of Erin McCarthy's before we were friends. I was a reader fan of hers. And so it's funny to me to look back and now be like, oh, I'm writing books with her. Like I can text her right now. Not right now. She's in bed with a migraine. That would be kind of rude, but it's just like, it's so fun. It's so weird to look back on that. So
yeah.
Pretty cool.
Everyone, thank you so much for hanging out with us. Erin, thank you for hanging out with us.
Thanks for letting me. You guys are great.
Of course, anytime, hopefully maybe in January, Erin will feel better and we can come back and hang out again. For the next book. And then we will see you and hopefully all of you in Indianapolis in November.
Yay. Heather, are you going to be there?
I don't know. We got to see what flights are.
Yeah, because it's a little far for her to drive from Minnesota.
I know. That's how I am. It's like I could drive it, but that doesn't sound like fun. So I'm gonna have to fly. So
yeah,
but it'll be fun. I can't wait to see y'all and so thanks for stopping by, everybody.
Thanks for hanging out.
Absolutely. Thanks for reading.
Until next time, everyone. Happy reading. Bye, everybody.
Bye.